The rescue ship moved slowly through the floating pieces of broken metal and burning wreckage. Lieutenant sat in the pilot's seat, her eyes scanning the darkness of space. Red lights blinked on her control panel. The sensors had found something. "Life sign detected," the computer said in its cold voice. "One survivor, small, possibly a child." His heart beat faster. She had been doing rescue work for 8 years. She had seen many terrible things: dead ships, dead crews, families frozen in the cold of space. But finding a survivor, especially a child, that was rare. That was a gift. She guided her ship closer to the wreckage. The destroyed vessel had been a refugee ship. They were a species from a distant star system. They looked like a mix between a fox and a small cat. They had soft fur, pointed ears, and large golden eyes. They were known as a peaceful people who kept to themselves. But peace did not protect them from pirates. The attack had happened 3 days ago. By the time the distress signal reached the nearest station, it was too late. The ship was destroyed. Everyone was dead. Or so they thought. Put on her space suit and helmet. She checked her oxygen levels. She grabbed her medical kit. Then she opened the airlock and stepped out into the cold silence of space. She used small jets on her suit to move through the wreckage. Pieces of metal floated around her like leaves in water. She saw personal items drifting past. A broken toy, a torn blanket, a picture frame with a family photo inside. Tried not to look at it. The life sign led her to a small section of the ship that was still mostly whole. It was a storage room of some kind. The door was bent and broken. Pushed it open and floated inside. And there, hiding behind a fallen shelf, she found the cub. The little creature was no bigger than a human toddler. Its fur was the color of autumn leaves, orange and red and brown mixed together. Its large golden eyes stared at with pure terror. One of its ears was torn. Burns covered the left side of its small body. One leg was bent in a way that made feel sick. But the cub was alive. Against all odds, it was alive. "Hello there," said softly. She removed her helmet so the cub could see her face. "I am not going to hurt you, I promise." The cub hissed at her. It tried to back away, but there was nowhere to go. It bared its tiny fangs and made a weak growling sound, but could see that it had no strength left. It was scared and hurt and completely alone. Moved slowly. She did not want to frighten the child more. She knelt down so she was at the same level as the cub. She held out her hand, palm up, showing that she held no weapon. "My name is," she said gently. "I am here to help you. You are safe now." The cub's golden eyes studied her face, did not know if it could understand her words. They had their own language, but maybe it could understand her tone, her kindness, her care. After a long moment, the cub stopped growling. Its torn ear twitched. A small whimper escaped its throat. Reached into her medical kit and pulled out a small blanket. She held it up so the cub could see it. Then, very slowly, she moved forward and wrapped the blanket around the tiny, shaking body. The cub struggled for 3 seconds. Then it went limp. It was too tired, too hurt, too scared to fight anymore. Lifted the small bundle into her arms. The cub weighed almost nothing. She could feel its heart beating fast against her chest. Its small claws gripped her suit, holding on tight like it was afraid to let go. "I have got you," whispered. "I have got you now. You are going to be okay." She carried the cub back through the wreckage, back to her ship. Every few seconds, she looked down to make sure the small creature was still breathing. Its golden eyes stayed fixed on her face, watching her with a strange mix of fear and hope. Back on the rescue ship, set the cub down on the medical bed. She started treating its wounds. The burns were bad but not deadly. The broken leg would need surgery, but the cub would live. As she worked, the cub never looked away from her, and its small paw never let go of her sleeve. 2 hours later, ship docked with the research station called Horizon's Edge. Medical officer was waiting at the airlock. He was a tall man with kind eyes and steady hands. He had been friend for many years. When he saw the bundle in her arms, his eyebrows went up. "That is a cub," he said. "Their government will want to know. There are protocols for situations like this." "Their government is 6 star systems away," replied. Her voice was calm but firm. "This child needs help now. Protocols can wait." Looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked at the cub. The small creature was still holding onto sleeve. Its golden eyes were half closed from exhaustion, but it refused to sleep. It was too scared to close its eyes. Something in its expression softened. "Bring the child to the medical bay," he said. "I will prepare for surgery." Nodded and walked past him. As she moved through the station corridors, crew members stopped to stare. A human carrying an alien cub was not something they saw every day. But did not care about their stares. She only cared about the small, warm weight in her arms, the tiny heartbeat against her chest, the small paw that refused to let go. She did not know it yet, but her life had just changed forever. In the medical bay, worked on the cub's leg while held its small paw. The cub cried out during the surgery, a high-pitched sound that broke his heart. She stroked its fur and spoke softly, telling it that everything would be okay. When the surgery was done, the cub finally fell asleep. But even in sleep, its paw stayed wrapped around its finger. Looked at them and shook his head slowly. "You know this is going to be complicated," he said. "I know," replied. "The will want the child back. There will be paperwork, legal issues, political problems." "I know." Sighed. "And you do not care, do you?" Looked down at the sleeping cub. Its small chest rose and fell with each breath. Its torn ear twitched as it dreamed. "No," she said softly, "I do not care at all." She stayed by the cub's side all night. And when morning came, she was still there, her hand wrapped around that tiny paw, refusing to let go. Just like the cub refused to let go of her, 3 months passed on the research station Horizon's Edge. The cub's body healed. The burns faded into pale patches on her fur. The broken leg mended and grew strong again. The torn ear would always have a small notch in it, but it worked perfectly fine. But healing the body was the easy part. Healing the heart was much harder. Had named the cub. In her native Korean language, the word meant spring. She chose this name because spring was a time of new beginnings, a time when cold, dark things ended and warm, bright things started. She hoped the name would bring the cub luck. Had learned to understand human speech quickly. The station doctor gave her a small translator collar that turned her chirps and growls into words. At first, she only used it to say simple things like hungry or tired or scared. She said scared a lot. Was afraid of everything. She jumped at loud noises. She hid under furniture when strangers walked by. She refused to eat unless was sitting right next to her. She would not sleep alone. Every night she crawled into bed and pressed herself against the human's warm body. Only then, with heartbeat in her ear, could she close her eyes. Never complained. She never pushed away. She understood that the cub had lost everything. Her family, her home, her entire world. Trust was not something that came easily after that kind of loss. So was patient. She was gentle. She was there. Every morning she woke up with curled against her side. She would stroke the cub's soft fur and whisper good morning, would make a small, happy chirping sound and press closer. Every meal, sat next to and talked to her while they ate. She told the cub stories about Earth, about blue skies and green trees and oceans that stretched forever, listened with wide golden eyes, trying to imagine a world so different from the cold metal station. Every night read to before bed. She read old human fairy tales about brave heroes and happy endings. Did not always understand the stories, but she loved the sound of his voice. It made her feel safe. Slowly, very slowly, started to change. She stopped hiding when crew members walked past. She started eating even when was a few steps away. She began to explore the station, always looking back to make sure was watching. and she started to smile. Smiles looked different from human smiles. Their mouths did not curve up the same way, but their ears would perk forward and their tails would wag, and their golden eyes would glow with warmth. Learn to read these signs. She learned to see the happiness in his face. One day, spoke a full sentence for the first time. They were sitting in the observation room looking out at the stars. Was in his lap, warm and comfortable. Her translator collar hummed softly as she opened her mouth. "Mother," she said, "stars are pretty." His heart stopped. She looked down at the cub in her arms. "What did you call me?" His ears flattened with worry. She thought she had done something wrong. Sorry, will not say again." No, held the cub, "say it again, please." Looked up at her with uncertain eyes. "Mother." Tears filled his eyes. She pulled close and hugged her gently. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, little one, I am your mother if you want me to be." His tail wagged so hard that her whole body shook. She buried her face in his neck and made a sound that was half purr, half cry. Wants very much. From that day on called mother and called daughter. But not everyone was happy about this. Station commander called to his office one morning. He was a serious man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been kind too, but today his face was troubled. "The council has been contacted," he told. "They are sending a delegation to retrieve the child." Felt cold, retrieve. She belongs with her people. That is what they say. "She belongs with me." His voice was sharp. "I am her family now." Sighed. "I understand how you feel, but this is not simple. There are laws, agreements between species. They have rights over their own children." "And what about rights? Does anyone care what she wants?" "She is a child. The council believes children cannot make such important decisions." Stood up, her hands were shaking with anger and fear. "When will they arrive?" 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 14 days. That was all the time she had left with her daughter. Walked back to her quarters in a daze. When she opened the door, ran to greet her, tail wagging, ears perked forward. "Mother home, missed mother." Knelt down and hugged the cub tightly. She did not want to let go. She never wanted to let go. That night they lay together in bed. Was almost asleep, her small body warm against his side. Her breathing was slow and peaceful. "Mother," his voice was soft and sleepy. "Yes, little one." "Had bad dream last night, fire and alone, everyone gone." The cub pressed closer. "Then mother came, fire went away, was not alone anymore." Stroked the fur between his ears. "I will always come for you, always." "Promise oath?" asked. "Like sacred promise." Stronger said, "A human promise. We do not break those for anything, not for anyone, not ever." His tail twitched happily. Her eyes were closing. "Believes mother, trusts mother." "Good, now sleep, my little spring flower. I am here. I am not going anywhere." Fell asleep with a small smile on her face. Lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling. She listened to her daughter's peaceful breathing. She felt the small, warm weight against her side. In 2 weeks, strangers were coming to take her child away. But was human, and humans did not give up the ones they loved. Not without a fight. She did not know how she was going to win this battle. She did not know what she was going to do, but she knew one thing for certain. She would not let them take her daughter. She would fight the entire galaxy if she had to. And she would win. The delegation arrived on a bright silver ship that looked like a knife cutting through space. Stood at the docking bay window, watching the ship connect to the station. Her hands were tight fists at her sides. Behind her, hid in the shadows, her small body pressed against the wall. The airlock opened with a hiss. 3 walked out. The leader was tall for her species. Her fur was silver-white like fresh snow. Her eyes were amber-colored and very cold. She wore long robes covered with symbols that meant nothing to. But the way she walked, the way she held her head high, told everything she needed to know. This was someone important, someone powerful, someone used to getting what she wanted. "I am Ambassador," the Silver said. Her voice was smooth and empty of warmth. "I am here for the child." Commander stepped forward. "Welcome to Horizon's Edge, Ambassador. We have prepared quarters for your delegation. Perhaps you would like to rest before discussing the matter." "There is nothing to discuss." His cold eyes scanned the room. They found hiding in the corner. "There is the child. I will take her now." "Wait," moved between, "and you cannot just take her. There are procedures, paperwork. She has been in my care for 3 months. She is settled here. She is happy." Looked at the way someone might look at an insect. "You are the human who found her, yes. We thank you for your service. But it is time for the child to return to her own kind. She will be placed in a state nursery and raised properly." "A state nursery?" His voice was rising. "She is not a package to be stored somewhere. She is a child. She has a name, it is." "That is a human name." Slip curled slightly. "It will be changed." Behind made a small, frightened sound. Reached back without looking and felt a tiny paw grab her hand. "She does not want to go with you," said. "Can you not see she is scared?" "Children are often scared of change. It does not matter, she will adjust." Stepped forward. "Now give me the child." "No." The word hung in the air like a wall. His amber eyes narrowed. "Human, you do not have any rights here. This is a child. Law applies. You are nothing to her." "I am her mother." Laughed. It was a cold, hollow sound. "You are a different species. You cannot be her mother. This is foolishness." Did not move. Her grip on his paw tightened. "Family is not about species. It is about love. It is about choice. I choose her, and she chooses me." Commander stepped between them before things could get worse. "Ambassador, please, let us discuss this in a civilized manner. The Galactic Union has laws about child custody. There will be a hearing. Until then, the child remains where she is." His eyes burned with anger, but she nodded slowly. "Very well, we will wait for the hearing. But do not get attached, human. The child is ours. She will always be ours." She turned and walked away, her robes flowing behind her like cold water. Let out a breath she did not know she was holding. She turned and knelt down, pulling into her arms. "It is okay," she whispered. "It is okay. She cannot take you, not yet. I will not let her." Was shaking badly. Her small claws dug into his uniform. "Scared, mean lady wants to take away." "I know, little one, but I will fight for you, I promise." That night could not sleep. She sat by the window, looking out at the stars. The silver ship was still docked at the station, a constant reminder of the danger waiting for them. Was not sleeping either. She sat on her small bed, her golden eyes watching. "Mother." Turned, yes. The cub looked down at her paws. She was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was so small that could barely hear it. "Mother, if you had actual cub, human cub, would you still want?" The question hit like a punch to the stomach. She could not breathe for a moment. Then she crossed the room quickly and sat down next to. "Why do you ask that?" His ears were flat against her head. Tears were forming in her golden eyes. "Mean lady said mother cannot be real mother because is and mother is human, is different, wrong fur, wrong ears, wrong everything." A tear rolled down her furry cheek. "Maybe mother wants real cub, human cub, pretty cub, not broken." His heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. She took his face gently in her hands. She looked directly into those golden eyes. Look at me and listen." The cub looked up, trembling. "You are my real cub." His voice was fierce and strong and full of love. "Not because we share the same blood, not because we are the same species. You are my real cub because I chose you and you chose me. That is what family means. That is what love means." "But is different." "Different does not mean less. Different does not mean wrong. Different means special." Wiped the tears from his fur. I do not want a human child. I do not want any other child. I want you, my brave, beautiful, wonderful, my little spring flower. His lower lip was trembling. Really? Really? You are my daughter, my real daughter, and I would not trade you for anything in the whole galaxy, not for 1,000,000 human children, not for anything. Threw herself into his arms and sobbed. All the fear, all the pain, all the worry came pouring out in those tears. Held her tight and rocked her gently, whispering soft words of love. I love you, mother cried, loves you so much. I love you too, my little one, forever and always. No matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, you are mine and I am yours, and nothing in this universe will ever change that. They held each other for a long time. Outside the window, the stars kept spinning. The silver ship kept waiting. But in that small room, a mother and daughter held onto each other and refused to let go. The fight was not over. The hardest part was still coming. But they would face it together. And together, they were stronger than anyone knew. The hearing took place in the great council chamber of the Galactic Union Station. It was a massive room with high ceilings and walls made of dark stone. Representatives from dozens of species sat in rows of seats that rose up like steps. Their eyes, of every color and shape, looked down at the small platform in the center of the room. Stood on that platform alone. She wore her best uniform. She had brushed her hair and cleaned her boots, but she felt small standing there with so many alien eyes watching her. Her heart was beating fast. Her palms were sweating. On the other side of the platform stood Ambassador and her delegation. The silver looked calm and confident. She had done this before. She knew how to win. The head of the council was an ancient being made of living crystal. Its body glowed with soft blue light. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. This hearing will now begin. The matter before us is the custody of the child currently known as Ambassador. You may speak first. Stepped forward gracefully. Her silver fur gleamed under the chamber lights. Honored council members, she began, this case is simple. A child was found after a tragic accident. A human took the child into her care. We are grateful for this temporary kindness, but now it is time for the child to return to her people. She gestured with one elegant paw. They have ancient traditions. Our children are raised in community nurseries where they learn our culture, our language, our ways. This child has been this birthright. She has been given a human name. She has been raised by an alien species. This is not natural. This is not healthy. This must be corrected. Murmurs moved through the council chamber. Some heads nodded in agreement. Continued. We understand that the human has formed an attachment to the child, but attachments are not the same as rights. Law is clear. Our children belong with their own kind. We ask the council to uphold our laws and return the child to us immediately. She stepped back, looking satisfied. The crystal being turned its glowing face toward. Lieutenant of Earth, you may respond. Stepped forward. Her legs felt weak, but she forced them to carry her. She looked up at all those watching eyes and took a deep breath. You talk about culture and tradition, she said. Her voice was shaky at first but grew stronger with each word. But what culture did have when I found her? She pointed at the delegation. Her ship was destroyed. Her family was dead. She was burned and bleeding and completely alone. When I found her, she was hiding behind a broken shelf, waiting to die. That was the culture she knew. That was the tradition she learned. Pain, loss, fear. The chamber was silent, kept going. I did not save her because she was. I saved her because she was a child who needed help. I did not love her because she looked like me. I loved her because when I picked her up, she grabbed my uniform and refused to let go. She trusted me when she had every reason to trust no one. Her voice rose, filling the chamber. You want to take her to a state nursery, a building full of strangers, cold walls and empty beds. You want to give her a new name and tell her that the last 3 months meant nothing. that I am nothing to her. She turned to look directly at Ambassador. She calls me mother, she chose me, and I chose her. That is not irregular, that is not a problem to be fixed. That is love, that is family, and I will not let you take her away from that. His eyes narrowed, but she said nothing. Commander stood up in the audience section. He held a small computer tablet. Honored Council, I would like to submit evidence to support Lieutenant's case. The crystal being nodded, proceed. Walk to the platform. Lieutenant has formally applied for cross-species adoption under Galactic Union Statute 742. This law allows members of one species to adopt orphaned children of another species if certain conditions are met. He showed the tablet to the council. I have here signed statements from the medical, psychological, and educational staff of our station. Every one of them confirms that has thrived under human care. She has healed physically. She has grown emotionally. She has learned to trust and love again. Removing her from this environment would cause serious harm to her mental health. Ambassador stepped forward angrily. These are human opinions. They do not understand children. Actually, replied calmly, our medical officer consulted with 3 child development experts. They all agreed that stability and emotional attachment are more important than cultural matching at this stage of development. The crystal being raised a glowing hand to silence the argument. There is one question that has not been asked, it said. What does the child herself want? The chamber went quiet. The great doors at the back of the room opened slowly. Walked in. She looked so small in that huge room. Her autumn-colored fur was brushed clean. Her golden eyes were wide but determined. She walked with careful steps, her little paws making soft sounds on the stone floor. She walked past Ambassador without looking at her. She walked past the council members and their staring eyes. She walked straight to and took her hand. Then she turned to face the council. Wants to go home, she said clearly. Her translator collar made her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. With mother. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Ambassador's face twisted with anger. The child does not understand. She has been confused by the human. This proves nothing. But the crystal being raised its hand again. A child's voice matters. A child's heart matters. We have heard facts and laws and traditions today, but we have also heard something more important. We have heard love. It turned to look at the full council. I call for a vote. All in favor of granting Lieutenant full custody of the child under Statute 742. Hands and claws and tentacles rose all around the chamber, counted quickly. It was more than half, much more. All opposed. The delegation raised their hands. A few others joined them, but they were clearly outnumbered. The decision is made, the crystal being announced. Custody is granted to Lieutenant. The child is legally her daughter under Galactic Union law. Fell to her knees and pulled into her arms. Tears streamed down her face. She could not speak. She could only hold her daughter and cry. Hugged her back just as tightly. Knew, the cub whispered, knew mother would win because mother promised, and humans do not break promises. Never sobbed, never ever. Around them the council chamber erupted in noise. Some were cheering. Some were arguing. Ambassador stormed out without a word, her silver robes flowing behind her like an angry cloud. But did not care about any of it. She had her daughter. She had one. And nothing else in the universe mattered. The adoption ceremony happened on a quiet Tuesday morning. Had asked for something small, just a few friends, some simple words, nothing fancy. But word had spread through the station, and when she arrived at the administrative office, the entire corridor was filled with people. Crew members lined the walls. Engineers, doctors, pilots, scientists. They were all smiling. Some were holding small gifts wrapped in colorful paper. Others had made signs that said things like congratulations and welcome to the family and forever. His golden eyes went wide, her ears perked forward, her tail began to wag. "All for us," she whispered. Squeezed her daughter's paw. "All for us." Medical officer was waiting at the front of the crowd. His eyes were wet with tears that he kept trying to hide. "About time," he muttered when they walked past. Then he smiled and patted gently on the head. "Welcome to humanity, little one. We are weird, but we mean well." Chirped happily, "Uncle is weird, knows." Laughter rippled through the corridor. Commander stood behind a small desk in the administrative office. For once, his serious face was soft with warmth. He held an official-looking document in his hands. "Are we ready?" he asked. Looked up at, they both nodded. Cleared his throat and began to read. "By the authority given to me by the Galactic Union and the United Earth Government, I hereby recognize and confirm the legal adoption of the child by Lieutenant. From this day forward, they are mother and daughter in the eyes of all law. They share all rights, all privileges, and all responsibilities of family." He paused and looked at them with warm eyes. "This bond cannot be broken by distance or time or any power in the universe. It is written in law, but more importantly, it is written in their hearts." He set down the document and smiled. "How does it feel to officially be part of a human family?" His tail wagged so hard that her whole body wiggled back and forth. "Was always human family," she said proudly. "Now paper says so too." The room exploded with laughter and cheers. People clapped and cried, gave up trying to hide his tears and just let them fall. Signed the document. Then she helped make a small paw print next to her signature. The ink was purple, his favorite color. "It is done," announced. "They are officially mother and daughter." More cheers, more tears. Someone started playing music on a small speaker. Before knew what was happening, a party had started. Crew members brought food and drinks. They gave the gifts they had wrapped, books and toys and soft blankets and a small stuffed animal that looked like a bear. Hugged each gift tightly and thanked everyone with happy chirps. Stood back and watched her daughter play with her new toys. She watched laugh and run around and show everyone her favorite gift, a small music box that played a gentle song when you opened it. Came to stand beside her. "You know," he said quietly, "when you first brought that scared little cub onto the station, I thought you were making a mistake." Nodded, "I remember." "I was wrong." He looked at dancing to the music box song. "I have never been more happy to be wrong." Smiled, "Thank you for helping us. I could not have done this alone." "That is what friends are for." He patted her shoulder. "Now go, your daughter is looking for you." Was running toward them, the music box clutched in her paws. "Mother, listen, pretty song." She held up the box and opened it. A soft, tinkling melody filled the air. It was a simple tune, but beautiful. "It is lovely," said. "Do you like it?" "Loves it, will listen every night before sleep." She looked up with shining eyes, "but likes mother's stories better." "Then I will keep telling them." That night after the party ended and the guests went home and returned to their quarters, everything was the same as before, but somehow it felt different, more real, more permanent, more like home. Tucked into her small bed. It was custom-made with a heating pad underneath because cubs like to be warm. Snuggled under her favorite blanket, the one had wrapped around her on the day they first met. "Story?" asked hopefully. "Which one?" "The one about the brave human who found a lost cub in the fire." Smiled and settled onto the edge of the bed. She took her daughter's small paw in her hand. "Once upon a time in the cold darkness of space there was a terrible fire. A ship was destroyed. Everyone was lost. But hidden in the wreckage there was a small cub. She was scared and hurt and all alone. She thought no one would ever find her. She thought she would be alone forever." His eyes were growing heavy, but she fought to stay awake. "But then," continued, A brave human came. She flew through the fire and the darkness. She searched and searched until she found the cub. And when she picked the cub up, the cub grabbed her uniform and refused to let go. Smiled sleepily, because cub knew human was good. Yes, and the human looked at the cub and said, I have got you now. And she meant it forever. Forever, murmured. Her eyes were closing. The human took the cub home. She healed her wounds. She chased away her fears. She fought the whole galaxy to keep her safe. And in the end, they became a real family, mother and daughter, together forever. Best story, whispered. It is my favorite too. Leaned down and pressed a gentle kiss to the soft fur on his forehead. Good night, my little spring flower, I love you. Love you too, mother, forever and always. His breathing slowed, her small body relaxed. She fell into peaceful sleep, safe and warm and loved. Sat with her for a while, watching her daughter dream. Outside the window, the stars wheeled slowly past, endless and eternal. Somewhere out there, other ships were flying. Other people were living their lives. Other stories were being told. But this was the only story that mattered too. The story of a human who found a lost cub in the fire and made her a daughter. The story of a family built not from blood, but from choice. The story of love that crossed the boundaries of species and law and everything else the universe could throw at it. Years later, humans became known throughout the galaxy for something strange. They adopted everything: orphaned aliens, abandoned robots, lost creatures of every shape and size. They took in anyone who needed a home and called them family. Other species did not understand it. They asked why humans did this, why they opened their hearts so wide, why they loved so freely. Humans always gave the same answer. Because they needed us, and we needed them. That is what family means. The galaxy never quite understood, but they learned to respect it. And sometimes, in quiet moments, they found themselves wishing they could do the same. Because in the end, that was what made humans special. Not their technology, not their strength, not their intelligence. Their love. Their endless, stubborn, unbreakable love. And a little girl with autumn-colored fur and golden eyes knew this better than anyone. She was proof. She was family. She was home,